Alrighty then. Text from Jake's bed. This is my bed. I have to pee in this bin, which is full of my urine. As soon as I woke up at 6:42 a.m., Charles's radio and Darlene's radio in their room was turned on and began to obtrusively and menacingly play music and really talk radio very, very loudly and very rapidly. The people on it were all talking super, super fast. I have that on audio recording. They played that for about an hour from 6:42 to 7:42. At 7:42 a.m., Charles got out of Charles and Darlene's sleeping bed in Darlene's room. Charles went to the bathroom at exactly 7:42 a.m., exactly an hour after I woke up, and exactly an hour after he turned the music and radio talk show on. And then Darlene, I believe Darlene and Charles left. I heard the start of Charles's truck. Here's the rat. He just crawled up the wall. So they both left Darlene's room and ran out the door. I believe somebody was outside waiting. Charles got a phone call and said, "Hello, you're outside." And then, they left just before 8 a.m. and they did the same thing yesterday. Sends the radio. I have not seen or spoken to Darlene and Charles in a few days now since the police were here. And I've only communicated with Darlene by text. So it's just falsifying evidence is what they're doing. I believe they're fabricating audio monitoring, and I think they're probably gone someplace where they're hanging out with someone who is probably a police officer claiming that my son and I live with them. "64 degrees on the thermostat." It was last night when Jake and I got home. The thermostat was set on 65. Here's Allie. And nobody's in the kitchen. This little this ring here. This door is locked. This is Darlene's room. Charles, a vagrant, has been sleeping there for a couple of days with Darlene. That's Nugget. It was Darlene's cat. Nobody's here right now but me and Jake, because Charles and Darlene left just before 8 a.m. And just now when I walked out, my son's in my bedroom. This is something else I've noticed. I bought corn dogs that Jake and I ate. When I go out and buy food items, I've noticed that Darlene goes out and buys the same product. And I believe that's because she's claiming to be feeding me and Jake. She's never spent a dime on me or Jake. I've got my receipts. My food stamp records will show the same thing. She went out and bought cream cheese ice and cookie and cream ice, and which she doesn't need. See how dirty and filthy this is? So let me come over here. They didn't let Ellie out either. Ellie, want to go outside? Huh? What you doing, Ellie? That's Charles' jacket. Yep, they're gone. Darlene's car is gone, and so is Charles' truck, so they both left it just before 8. But they laid awake in their bed in their room. I woke up at 6:42 a.m. The minute I woke up in my bed in my room where my son Jake fell asleep. Are you crying? What's wrong, Ellie? What is it? You whining? I woke up at 6:42 a.m. The second I did, a radio started playing obtrusively loudly in Darlene's room. Turned up as high as it would go. It played until 7:42 a.m. precisely 60 minutes. At the end of those 60 minutes, at 7:42 a.m., Charles immediately left Darlene's bedroom and went into the bathroom alone. I did not leave the room when I woke up at 6:42. I had the urge to pee, but I didn't because I was intimidated and I felt like I was being menaced by the loud music and very rapid radio broadcast that was playing, talk radio, and it being turned up so loudly. I was afraid as I stepped into the hallway that I would be assaulted and that my screams wouldn't be heard. So, and I was concerned about my son's welfare. So I barricaded the door last night when Jake and I went to bed. Jake insisted on it the night before last. He's scared to death of these people. And I am too, as they're both on disability. So then Darlene giggled after Charles came out of the bathroom, and Charles answered a phone call and said, "Hello, you outside?" And he was in his room in Darlene's room. Charles was in Darlene's room. Charles doesn't live here. He's a vagrant. He took his bedroll. I guess he decided he wasn't going to need it after all. I've got video of it though. So he's a vagrant. I think he was kicked out of the apartment that he had been given because of his disability. Darlene was telling me about it. He'd been told to pay a $100 fine for not making his bed. Landlords don't charge $100 for not making your bed. So he was probably drinking or doing drugs or something and got caught doing it and has to pay a $100 fine. And he probably got kicked out because he probably started bitching about it and threatening or refused to pay it. And Darlene told me herself sitting in this living room that his romantic interest in her would wane and that he would leave and go start drifting around town. That he said he was headed out to California before and was going to work for 6 months. Okay. Then she told me he'll leave her again. And she said terrible things to me about Vicky. So pretty hard to stomach somebody talking and saying stuff like that about other people that she's clinging to. She's enjoying the circus that she's created. And they both died out of here. I haven't seen or spoken to Darlene and Charles in person. And in a few days now, I only communicated with Darlene by text message yesterday. I didn't see her speak to her. Didn't see her speak to Charles. And the only person I spoke to by phone yesterday was a lady about a rental. I haven't spoken to anybody by phone today. So there's no other way to say that. That's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I have never consented to searches, surveillance, monitoring, or supervision. I've never been informed of such and never have waived my constitutional rights. I demand a search warrant. I have never been charged with a crime. Audio monitoring by itself is not clear and convincing evidence. The fact that there was no search warrant issued by a judge and that this is just supposed to be consensual audio monitoring, I don't consent to it. I've never consented to it. I've never given anybody a reason to think that I have consented to it. I've never been informed of it, but I do have a brain and I can think and I know what's going on here. So I believe that she and Darlene and Charles probably took off and are going hanging out someplace else with somebody pretending to be me. This address is 3709 Parkway Drive. It is the only house or dwelling my son and I have ever entered on Parkway Drive. And I've never done drugs a day in my life. I'm not a pedophile. My son and I don't go into Darlene and Charles's room. And there's nothing else to say about it. They didn't let Nellie out this morning either. So Darlene is a disabled woman. Charles is a vagrant taking advantage of her, which she knows. I have a full-time job. I work 40 hours a week, and I just got offered